Thursday, February 18th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, bunch of jackasses trying to play Pokemon on Twitch.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Action Pokemon.
That's what it is.
Endgame.
Let's not talk about it until we get to the bit so that we can
So I have a tale.
time.
I have a tale of woe
A
from
tale
the other
of
night.
woe.
It is one of the most woeful things that has happened to me in recent memory. So, I'm home. I'm tired. Going to bed early for the first time in, I don't know, like a year or two.
Okay.
It's like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, we're going to go to bed. Fuck yeah, go to bed. So we go into the bedroom, go to bed, fall asleep. I'm going to get more sleep in that night than I've gotten most days of my life. And then the rabbits start thumping, and they wake us up, which isn't that uncommon. Occasionally, like, one will be in a bad mood or have a bad dream or something. And, you know, a rabbit thump basically is a, hey, watch out. Something's up. Something's bad. Watch out. And usually one of them will thump, and the other one's like, shut up, dude. But this time they were both thumping. So we kind of wake up, and we're laying there, and then Emily says, Rim, do you smell burning? And I think, of course, there's nothing burning. Nothing smells like burning. And then I go, and I say, yep, I definitely smell burning. So we sit up, and we turn on the light, and we look around, and it seems like it's coming from the heater. But our heater is, like, really dumb. It's just steam, or the hot water, like, piped through a thing. Like, there's nothing to burn in there. And it seems like it's coming from the heater. Like, I smell, so I open the window, and then I kind of smell it outside, but I'm not sure. So I tell her to wait in the bedroom, and like, I'm like, yeah, poke around, make sure, like, because we have that dodgy lamp that your dad got us. One of them still remains.
Oh, I got rid of that.
That
Wow.
sparky, dodgy piece of shit. I kind of expected that thing to be on fire inside or something. So she's checking there, and I walk out into the hallway, and I come into this room, the studio, and I open the window, and kind of smells like burning, but I can't quite tell. So I'm looking around, and then the burning smell starts getting worse and worse and worse. So I turn on the light, and there's just fucking smoke coming out of the ceiling. There's like a foot of hazy smoke hanging around the ceiling, slowly descending. So I'm like, oh, fuck.
What did you burn?
So it's coming out of the ceiling. There's nothing in our apartment. So
Why would smoke usually goes up, not down?
yeah, that exactly.
That's
so,
very strange for smoke to come out of the ceiling. Usually it comes out of the floor, especially in a modern building. It doesn't come out of anything.
So I can explain it after we get to the end why it was coming out of the ceiling, and it makes perfect sense. But
Just air pressure weirdness?
so this is happening, and we're in a fireproof building. The general rule in fireproof buildings is that if there's a fire, unless the fire is in your apartment, you shelter in place. You're supposed to just stay in your apartment. So I open up all the windows to air the smoke out, because smoke inhalation is obviously the most dangerous part of fire. And Emily goes into the hallway and prepares to go downstairs to see, like, what the deal is. Like, are there fires elsewhere? Is there something going on? She's going to do some recon, and I'm getting all the shit together to, like, get the rabbits and evacuate. So, yeah, she comes back upstairs, and to give a long story short, I went down and I witnessed the final conclusion of this. The second floor had it way worse. Like, the second floor was filled with smoke.
Okay, the fire must wait. So it's on the floor below you, but the smoke is coming out of the ceiling. Was it going up into a vent and then down?
So the
out of
fire
another
was
vent?
actually on the ground floor, where there was an almost no smell of smoke. So I go to the ground floor after Emily explained what happened, and I'm kind of, figuring out the deal. And we have all the windows open and all the heaters blasting and just airing out our apartment. And what I encounter down there is a whole bunch of firemen with axes. One of the axes had clearly been used. There had actually been a fire, and they're standing around. And there's a young girl. She looked like she was in her early 20s, and she's standing there on the verge of tears, desperately trying to explain that it's not my fault. I didn't put anything.
Yes, you did. Clearly, it's you.
Nothing. Just let me go check.
I don't even know what happened. I know you did it.
See, we were talking about this afterward. There's a certain way that people younger than me and younger than you will try to shift blame away from themselves when they fuck up. And this was a textbook case of that. And meanwhile, the super and the doorman and the firemen are all standing around her with their arms crossed, just giving that look of,
I don't know what you did, but you did it.
There was that look that a dad gives, like, oh, Your little brother just punched himself in the arm. Eh?
Sure.
That's your story? You sure?
I don't think he did it hard enough to bruise himself. Maybe he did just to get you in trouble.
Is that what you're really telling me, kid?
Because that shit can actually happen.
The
Little
moral
kids
of this
will do
is, if you can't use a dryer without starting a fire.
that. In the dryer? What the fuck did you put in there? Paper?
So as best I can tell,
even money
she
doesn't
put,
set on fire.
She put like something that was in
Gasoline?
a plastic bag in there, and it caught fire and melted, and then all the clothes caught fire, and then the lint caught fire.
What was it, like a Bic lighter inside of a plastic
I don't know.
bag?
I mean, for example, as a kid, one of the first things my mom told me when she taught me how to do laundry was, if you have gasoline or solvents on your clothes, wash them in the sink first and don't put them in the dryer, air dry them. You know, that kind of advice. Also, don't put plastic in the dryers. I don't know exactly what she put in the dryer. The moral of the reason the smoke
stick of dynamite.
The reason the smoke got into our apartment,
Fake electric train smoke chemical.
it went out of the laundry room and up the outside of the building. It was being sucked into the external HVAC systems. And two, that's why our heaters smelled like burning. And two, it went through the walls, up through the building, and then would disperse. And because our building's negative pressure, the second floor basically sucked most of the smoke into their rooms and then back out into the hall. We were one floor up, so we got like maybe an order of magnitude less, and there's basically no smoke by the time we got to the 5th floor. So if you are in college or beyond college, and you don't know how to do your own laundry, go live with your parents, because you clearly don't deserve to live in the real world. That is the moral of that story. How did this girl, have an apartment in this building, in the same building that I have an apartment in? Is her mom paying for it? I don't know. How do people get into the real world and not know how to do stuff? How does that happen?
And even if you did make this happen, right? It's like, if this happened to me, if I was drying my clothes and then if there was a fire, I'd call the fire department and I'd be like, I was drying my clothes and the fucking fire started.
Yep.
I must have put something crazy in there. Maybe it was left in my pocket. I don't know.
Yeah, what if they were like, did you put anything made of nylon? And then I was like, oh, fuck, I did. Yeah, my bad. I fucked up.
Also, there's a fire extinguisher in my laundry room, and I know how to use it.
There is not in our laundry room, but I did recently buy a fire extinguisher for our apartment.
Well, where'd you get? Was it on Amazon?
Yeah, super cheap.
Send me which one that is.
I did my research. I bought the exact right size one for an apartment our size. My primary expected use
I
of
just
this
want to put it under the sink.
is eventual kitchen disaster.
That is oil on fire is my number one. I need the kind that can put out an oil kitchen fire.
I got an ABC. I'll show it to you. It's like the perfect one, super cheap.
All right.
So yeah, the main reason I bring this up as a moral is because at RIT, I knew a lot of people who could not do their own laundry or cook.
Yep.
And none of those people graduated.
Nope.
Yeah, that's it. So gaming.
All right, so
Tuesday.
yeah, the biggest gaming news seems to be the Irrational Games, which is a game studio that is owned by Take-Two, right? And they are the developers of many famous games, mostly known for System Shock, BioShock Infinite,
Wow, so
etc.
the AAA, like the games that people go to is the gold standard of a AAA game.
Right. They are winding down in its current form, and all but about 15 members will be laid off, according to the co-founder Ken Levine, or Levine, whatever. I think he was a PAX keynote guy once, right? I think so. Possibly. Anyway, but if you read the news, right, and who knows the reality of this, whatever, and people always get upset when there are layoffs in the gaming industry, but it's like, look, it's like a fickle kind of industry, right? A game studio going down is basically the same as like a band getting unpopular or whatever, right? It's like you haven't come out with any hit songs in a while, right? You're done. But this one's a little bit different. I mean, this has happened a lot. Why haven't we ever talked about other studios laying people off and going under?
Yeah, I mean, remember there's so many penny arcades about like studio finishes game, immediately lays off everyone involved.
Right. How come we've never talked about it before? This one, I mean, there isn't like a solid fact on this, but if you read the quotes, right? Let me just read some of the quotes from Levine here.
No.
He's deeply proud of what Irrational Games has accomplished, but his passion, quote, has turned to making a different kind of game than we've done before. I need to refocus my energy on a smaller team with a flatter structure and a more direct relationship with gamers, he wrote in his open letter. In many ways, it'll be returned to how we started, a small team making games for the core gaming audience. So that to me sounds like I'm tired of this shit. I want to do something different. So I'm going to fire all your asses and then just do what I want to do with a handful of people because that's what I want to do.
That is what it sounds like to me.
That is what it sounds like to me. And it's like, why? If you want to do something small, why don't you just fucking leave with your people and let these other people stay here and keep making their Bioshock Infinite DLCs and let someone else take that shit over? And Take-Two, who's the boss of this guy, why don't you be like, fuck you, you're fired. These people are going to keep continuing on their money-making endeavor without you, and you can go do your small thing you want to do somewhere else.
Well, there's definitely got to be a little more to it than that.
Yeah, there's something going on here where but from the quotes, this guy's basically saying, like, I just want to do something different, so fuck all y'all. I don't give a shit about you.
Well, we're pretty aware of the fact that this industry is dysfunctional to an insane degree.
No.
We know that. So I can't say that this surprises me. I mean, this sort of behavior is kind of common.
Yeah.
It's just weird that these personal...
The guy would actually say it that way,
yeah,
as opposed
these
to
personal statements.
Usually when you lay people off, you say, we're not making a lot of money. Sorry, it's the reality of the world. I regret everything. It just sucks. This is the way things go.
Now,
Our
maybe they
last
weren't-
project wasn't very successful.
Maybe they weren't making a lot
so
of money. That'd
we
be
have to
interesting.
lay you off, right?
Think of it this way. If they weren't making a lot of money and that was the story somehow, then that's another big deal of, hey, AAA games can't make money.
But if that was the story, wouldn't the Take-Two stock have gone down, not up today?
yeah,
It's
I
public, so people know how much money it's making.
feel kind of conflicted that, I mean, I own a bunch of Take-Two stock. I bought it a long time ago.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, I bought it a long time ago because, one, it was cheap, and two...
You're a nerd, so you had to buy something that was gaming related.
No, it was cheap, and I thought it was really undervalued just for the simple fact that I think the financial world ignores the video game world.
Possibly.
Except
also
mobile
because it's
video
really
games.
high risk,
And so,
as we have seen.
yeah, the stock skyrocketed on the news that they laid all these people off.
Relatively speaking.
6%, over
Yeah.
6% in one day is a pretty
much
skyrocket.
That's big, but yeah, anytime a company lays people off, stock's gonna go up. But you have
I
to be invested in the company before that shit happens.
So I made a sizable pile of money on the news that all these people in the industry of my passion lost their jobs due to what, at least on the surface, sounds like some other person's personal passion.
If you get the feeling layoffs are coming at the place you work, buy the stock of your own company. But you can't do it if someone can prove for sure that you knew layoffs are coming.
Yes,
Like,
that's called insider trading.
right. Like if you knew, like for sure, that like you were part of the layoff making decision, don't buy your own stock because you will go to jail. But if you get like wind or maybe just a feeling like, you know, that something bad's going down, buy your own company stock. And then when the SEC comes to ask, be like, I worked at the company. I wanted to invest in it. It's completely innocent. And then they can't do anything because they can't prove guilt. And then when they lay you off, you'll get at least some tiny parachute.
Yeah. So I'm not sure, like, we don't have enough information to talk in detail about what happened. I don't know enough about the structure of these companies, financial filings. The real journalists can do that. They can explain what happened
This is
there.
going to be in the news for a couple days. If you care, keep reading it.
Investigative journalism will probably be done at length to explain more of this. But I think you hit the nail on the head. It's weird that what he said is the kind of thing that I would say as a positive thing. Like me saying, hey guys, I'm doing something awesome.
Yep.
But I can't imagine saying something like that to justify having laid off the team that made a very successful thing for me.
Yeah, they just finished making like the second DLC for Bioshock Infinite. So it's like, why? I don't know.
You know, the kind of secondary moral is video game industry is fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, people get abused professionally, very low wages, very high skill, very long hours. It kind of has the professional sports
Notice
problem.
I'm not working in that.
Yeah. Notice how when I work in it, it's always on the periphery. I would never take a job for like EA. I would consider working for Valve, maybe.
I would be any evil company, however evil that company may be, however much I may hate that company, I will always take a job at it if I am the CEO.
Nope.
Because then I will make it not evil. Give me any other job, I will not take that job. But if you make me the CEO of an evil company so that I may unevil and unstupid it, I will take that job, but no other job.
I think Valve might be the only major video game related company I would consider working for.
I always worry about companies like that, though, because I'm a person who will, in that situation, be mad lazy and do the absolute minimum amount of work, and they're looking for people who are just going to work hard and make that their life on purpose, and that is not me.
So I remember reading a fascinating article about how charisma...
I'm like, sorry guys, can't work on Counter-Strike as much as I like to. Gotta do some Geek Nights.
Some people who quit a long time ago talked about how charisma and selling yourself within Valve matters way more than productivity in terms of staying power and sticking around and getting people to work on your projects and all that.
No, that's cool.
I feel like I could do really well. I feel like I could convince a lot of people that I do a lot of work and not actually do anything for a long time.
I think the one is that if I was at Valve, I probably wouldn't even work on video games. I would work on things like the Steam client or Counter-Strike server user interface, so it doesn't. You can run it on Linux.
My God, my UX would be 99% of what I would do.
I'd be like, all right, we're fixing all these Steam community things. They're not slow as balls, and your inventory will actually load quickly.
Yeah, someone who's good at UX spend
you don't have to click 10 times to sell an item in this freaking workshop. You can just.
I think that's on purpose.
Yeah, but it's I would. That's the kind of stuff that I would do. Anyway,
so. I got kind of a geek bite rather than news, but the game Mafia. We've talked about it.
A zillion times.
I
have no interest in playing. I pretty much have lost all interest in ever playing Mafia unless we play the original version where the Mafias know who each other are but have to vote individually at night and have to be unanimous.
So I'm still interested in playing Mafia.
Thus forcing the daytime communication.
It's good as a social game to facilitate. If you have two groups of friends who do not mutually fully know each other, Mafia is a great game to get those two groups of friends to meld. The problem is that most people who want to play Mafia try to keep playing it after that first hour. You play it for an hour at a con, and then you fucking move on.
That is true.
Because Mafia, you got to admit.
Mafia is good. 3 games is pretty good. 10th game, no.
Yeah, unless you're playing one of the, the serious variant like Scott was talking about.
Right, that's the only one I'm going to play.
I played, because I thought a lot about Mafia. I'm still idly working on Beantown and all those things. For the first time, despite the many, many years of thought and writing and effort and diagramming and analysis I put into Mafia, I encountered a variant of Mafia that I've, 1, never encountered before, and that 2, was interesting enough to where I want to play it again.
Whoa, what the variant could possibly be.
A good friend at Nerd NYC introduced this to me and a few other people. Here's the shtick. It's same old Mafia. Mm-hmm. It has a different set of roles. It still
what
has
are the roles?
So it has the Angel and the Archangel, like before, and other basic roles. But then it has the drunk who one night can flip his role with someone else, and no one gets to see but him.
So the person who got flipped doesn't know what they are now?
Yeah, they don't know what they are anymore.
Uh-oh.
And someone else, the troublemaker, picks 2 other people and swaps their roles also secretly.
But he can't swap his own.
No, in normal Mafia, that would be bullshit. Here's why this is interesting. This Mafia has 1 night and 1 day.
Oh.
1 night happens. Everyone does their secret shit. The Mafia recognize each other. Everything happens. Then you all wake up. You decide. You vote with Zap style on who to lynch. Mm-hmm. And there's some rules for how many people you play. And basically, all the people who meet the threshold from the 1 point get killed. If only Mafia people get killed, or depending on the number of players, if any Mafia people get killed, the humans win. Otherwise, the Mafia win. It was the experience of you've got 1 day and there's a timer. You've got 5 minutes. So the game is everyone trying to logic it out and everyone else trying to, you're trying to figure out who would change what. It's almost like a timed logic puzzle. Mm-hmm. I was admonished because my strategy was to just lie and be super crazy in the first minute just to kind of throw everyone off balance and try to figure out who was lying or not. But it worked really well. I'm going to explore this concept a little further and see if this is actually worth playing before I actually convince you to play it once with me.
I like the swappage of not knowing what your role is anymore.
Because then there is a person who has privileged information who is not you.
Well, you know what that person was, and you know they're the drunk now, right?
Yeah.
If you swap 2 other people, then...
No, you don't know if your role was swapped, so the drunk knows that he swapped with someone else.
Right, so the drunk knows something. The drunk knows that so-and-so was Mafia, and the drunk knows so-and-so is now drunk.
So these roles kind of
Or
serve,
no, so-and-so wasn't.
they serve a similar purpose, I think, mathematically to the Masons. They inject people who have privileged information, but they also inject some chaos.
Right.
So I don't think
But
it would work.
when you swap, if you're the swapper who swaps two other people's roles with each other, but not your own, do you get to see those two that you just
No.
swapped? No.
So you swap them, so you know. So if you think that one of them's the mafia, and you think that the other one isn't, then you know you can try to assume that they're actually the reverse.
Oh, so
now.
if you see someone's gonna die, but you're pretty sure that person's safe, a civilian, because you're a civilian, right?
Yep.
And you see someone else you really think is mafia, you swap them so that the person who dies ends up being a mafia.
Now there might be more nuance. We played this quickly once, but the concept is the key. I got to think about this.
It is
a lot.
at least it's a new, fresh concept, and I like anything fresh.
The concept of
Whether it's
one
good
night,
or bad remains to be seen, but fresh is good.
Yep, 1 night, 5 minutes, and it was actually really fun. So I'm gonna agonize over the details of the rules and see if I can coalesce it into something solid. But anyway, things of the day.
So I love to have an animu thing of the day on gaming night.
No, that's fine because I've got a animal thing of the day.
Cool. Okay. Our buddy Mike Toole, he has made these funny comics. I think he made them. He's the one posting them. And he put them on a Toomble all together. Spance Daddy. He's
Oh
a
my
daddy
God.
guy in Spance. These comics are hilarious. If you've watched Spance Daddy.
If you're a fan of the Rage comic style of humor, if you're a fan of Geeknights,
These are so good. Like, way better than they should be. I could read them over and over again.
I know. Why, Daddy? No,
Spance,
Daddy.
Spance Daddy. Oh,
So-
snap.
This is a video of someone has a pet squirrel and a pet Bernese mountain dog. And it's a really, like, their whole channel, like, this squirrel is a really well-behaved, like, house squirrel. He seems pretty chill. So he's got a nut. He has to hide it somewhere because he wants to go get it later. He tries to hide the nut in the dog's fur.
Okay.
And the dog is just like, what the fuck are you doing, squirrel? It's a good video.
That's
I had a
cool.
better thing of the day, as in not a YouTube video, and it was awesome. And I found it 3 or 4 days ago, and I remember thinking to myself, well, I don't need to put it in Delicious. There's no way I will forget this. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. So you get a squirrel instead. Meta moment. The book club book is Wool. Too many people told us to read it. I will read it.
I didn't have a copy at my house.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a copy then.
I somehow was managed to dump them all.
So, watch our videos. See us at PAX East. See us at ZenkaiCon.
Anime Boston.
See us
is
at
the
Anime
soonest.
Boston. Yep, we're doing a bunch of panels to Anime Boston. I think we already published our schedule of panels. In fact, I think I can pull up the schedule right now because I think it's on the website. Typing in the name of our website. We're doing, on Friday, Fundamental Anime. And then right afterward, Judge Anime by its cover. On Saturday, we're doing The Secret Guide to Running Panels. And then, not all anime are what they seem.
That's it.
That's it. 4 panels.
So we're not going to be. I guess we got a hotel for Saturday night. So.
Yeah, but do you want to drive home Saturday night?
Nah.
Or do you want to hang out in Boston and eat the awesome Boston food?
Now we can do that, I guess. Yeah.
Hang out. Sunday, we'll just go play tabletop for a few hours and then drive home.
Mm-hmm.
Like we always do.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. Follow our stuff. No need to go over all that again. I assume you guys know the drill. So, I got it open right now, and Red's been stuck in this elevator for like
Well,
an
democracy
hour.
just got activated, so
Yeah, so already there's code around this bullshit now.
yeah. Yeah.
So, what are we watching, Scott?
So someone, we already saw Salty Bet, and that was worth an episode, right?
And of course, immediately when Salty Bet happened, Scott and I had the conversation we've had many times in our life of, we are stupid, why we not think of this, too late
So
to do.
Here, Twitch plays Pokemon. We are stupid. Why we not think of this? Too late to do. If we copy it, it will not be nearly as popular. But yeah, apparently coming up with ideas built on the Twitch API. I didn't realize the chat was something you could access from the API in real time, but it is. So this is gonna be mad successful here. Basically, what if you haven't seen it, which I can't imagine you haven't, being on the internet.
Twitch plays Pokemon.
Twitch plays Pokemon. They set up a game of Pokemon Red, and they hooked it up to Twitch. So you watch the game on Twitch, live streaming, and in the chat, you type in a command. and the commands get all buffered up, and then they get executed. So you can type into the chat.
I don't think they got buffered. I think it just sent them all to the game. So if you type something that the game wouldn't respond to, it would just ignore it.
No, it's just the only commands you could type are up, left, down, right, A, B, select, or start. If you type one of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things, then it would get sent to the game eventually. I think it took people were saying it takes 20 or 30 seconds for your command to get sent through, while it's waiting for everyone else's to go through. And then you just see what happens in the game. And you would think you would just randomly walk around like Red's house, not doing anything. But actually, they made significant progress. Who knows how much? It takes a long time for them to make progress, but somehow it happens.
Now, much like Salty Bet, how Salty Bet had this culture that arose from its legendary events, its Legend
This
of
is,
Krauser.
first of all, way bigger than Salty Bet ever was.
Well, Salty Bet's on a huge decline, too.
Yeah, well, that's because they stopped doing tournaments and they started doing those other things.
I went to
lost
Salty Bet
interest.
and almost no one was betting.
I lost all interest and they stopped doing tournaments. If they kept up with a tournament thing with the brackets, I would have kept with it. But because they got rid of that, I sort of stopped caring. So, yeah. Anyway, Twitch Lace Pokemon, the culture that has risen around this is pretty similar, right? For example, the inventory has the Helix fossil in it. They got it somehow. And something that will happen a lot is they'll try to use the Helix fossil and look at it and whatever when can't use it. So there's a Helix fossil religion that has not.
There's already, I saw people with shirts ready to bring to Anime Boston artist alleys. They're like, keep calm and consult the Helix fossil.
Yep.
This and Salty Bet prove once again that internet culture moves so fast. It goes from nothing to the community around this game that's only been running for 5 days is distinct from other communities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was crazy. This is Action Castle. What happens when we play Action Castle at cons? Some asshole
Me.
tries to derail the game, kill self, end game, drop key, climb tree.
This is basically Action Castle for a video game, right? Everyone stands in line in the chat, hands in their one command, press A, press B, and then they get executed in order.
Now, of course, people are trying to troll. People are trying to troll like crazy.
They want to release Pokemon. They want to die in battle on purpose.
I watched a highlight of the most epic moment.
The epic moment's right. Yeah, they're walking on a ledge. The kind of ledge where you can go down, but you can't go up. And they had to walk right a whole bunch of times in a row in order to succeed at getting to where they needed to go. And of course, some fucker puts in down. And then they had to try walk all the way around again.
Yup. I heard it took them some 6 hours to get past that spot.
They made it eventually, though, which is amazing.
Now, I've been looking into how, because
monkeys and typewriters, literally.
What's interesting that a lot of people are talking about is how come this is progressing at all? Mm-hmm. How is it possibly as far into the game
I wonder
as it
that
is?
myself. How can they're not just wandering around Red's house talking to his mom?
So apparently the answer is that a good number of the people are actually trying to win. And 2, those people are so mad and so dedicated to this that they are coordinating outside of the game to make these things happen.
Whoa.
For example, I'm going to read, there's a Kotaku article about this. I'm going to quote from it. Here's Carr talking about strategies the stream had come up with. The ledge. Players noticed that the tree was directly in line with the building's entrance and realized that if we could get the player inside the building, all we would have to do is mash the down button to end up directly in front of the tree. So by using the building as a funnel, we could line ourselves up with the door and cut down the tree much more easily than having to walk over to it and then cut down the tree. Mm-hmm. Or the start buffer. Because of the delay, people would type all their commands. So the down command that got accepted by the game might have been from a while ago. And then say you got down and now you want to go right. Other people who typed down way later are still streaming through. Mm-hmm. Kind of like how when everyone tries to clap at the same time, there's all those jackasses clapping way before and way after.
Yep.
So to get around that, the non-trolls would constantly spam start in between moves.
So they'd be like, down start. And then they'd be like,
down start
A, right?
Down start.
Right. So everyone else's commands would just get funneled into the menu and not do anything. And because not too many people are doing start, they press start and then put their commands and then press start again. right? So that everyone else's commands are going to the menu, and their commands are the ones actually making a move in between the starts.
They also have the B-roll. At least that's what one person called it, where if trolls have an advantage, like if trolls were just really messing around, everyone would just spam B to counteract anything they tried to do until they got bored and gave up.
Oh, to cancel. So if anyone's trying to open menus and release Pokemon, all the good people spam B until the trolls stop.
Yep, enable the B-roll.
Yep.
So...
And they coordinate, so they would have like a person being like, everyone B, 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 B. All right, and then when trolls have stopped, it's like, okay, now we're going to do a start buffer to get things going again.
So, well, he's still in the elevator.
Yeah, so...
He's trying desperately to activate the elevator.
So it seems like something has been added to the game since we started, and it seems to be there's some sort of system of voting between democracy and anarchy. So there's a meta-democracy where by typing in democracy or anarchy, you move the game either towards democracy or anarchy. So it is a democracy where anarchy is one of the things you can vote for, but you can always vote for democracy again.
So what it looks like is once you get it to democracy by typing anarchy or democracy, then...
Once democracy wins the election, the democratic election, if democracy is voted in, then basically anyone who types anything in, it gets voted as an option. And then, so basically instead of just all the A's happening, right, it's people vote. And if A wins, A gets pressed.
Which
and then
obviously
they vote again.
is going to be excruciatingly slow.
Right, because you're basically waiting like a period of however long for like the vote to tally up.
There's a meter and you can see it moving back and forth. A while ago, like the game was not progressing. They were stuck in the elevator the whole time.
Well, it was in anarchy mode when we started watching. Now it seems to be in democracy mode.
Well, because they were spamming
this anarchy democracy thing didn't exist when I started watching like a day ago.
Whoa, wait, Scott. It's almost like this game is evolving.
No. It's been going on for 5 days, 22 hours, 48 minutes, 34 seconds.
35.
Yeah.
6.
And they still haven't won, but I think they're eventually going to win, and they're going to lose their shit when that happens.
I don't know if they could have won if they didn't have this democracy bar.
I think it would have taken much, much longer without this democracy bar, but I think eventually, perhaps.
I think the trouble is
after months, I mean, look how far they've made it in 5 days. They have gym badges. Gym badges.
Yeah.
Holy,
there are over 70,000 people watching this right now.
If you told me they even had one gym badge, I've been like, what the fuck? Are you even, with anarchy only, they got gym badges. Plural, they leveled up Pokemons. I watched them win battles.
Seriously.
Win.
This chat is scrolling so fast you can't even read it.
Yeah. So
why is this popular? Is it popular for the same reasons that Action Castle is popular, just on a wider scale?
I mean, it's just fascinating to see that it can happen.
Yes, fascinating to see, but I tried to, like, you can't watch this.
No,
what
and
kind
then to
of
participate,
fucking person do you have to be to
participate?
Watch this?
It's like you typed in down and he moved down, and it's like, I did that, right? It's like, imagine if you're watching TV and you could actually have one, no matter how minute, you could have some control over what happened.
You're watching Twin Peaks and you're all just spamming like, don't open door, don't open door, don't open door.
All right, and because you typed don't open door, he didn't open the door. Your input, however minute, actually affected something that other people had to see, right?
But simultaneously,
and people get off on that.
It's the collective, like, you can feel like you're part of the zeitgeist.
Right, exactly.
But at the same time, watching it...
What I had to say mattered. It happened.
But watching it...
Also, I'm a troll. I trolled on purpose, and it happened.
Is fun for like a few minutes because it's like watching someone who's possessed by a demon trying to brush his teeth. The demon's trying to like punch him in the face and he's desperately fighting back against the demon, like trying to get the toothbrush into his mouth, into the eye, into the eye. Oh, all right, got it in the mouth, back into the eye.
Back into the back of the throat.
Like he's still stuck in this fucking elevator right now. But
I think they're trying to get it to the right floor.
Well, that's why they pushed it to democracy. But look, it's edging rapidly toward anarchy.
I think what happens is once it gets to democracy, you only have a few inputs because, Twitch will basically buffer your chat. It's like you chat, it's like you can't chat again for like some 30 seconds or whatever. So if democracy wins the vote, all the democracy people will start typing in like up or down, to get the thing they want to do.
And all the trolls will be like anarchy, anarchy,
all the
anarchy.
trolls, meanwhile, during democracy mode, will type in anarchy to get democracy mode ended. And so if it gets to democracy, they just have to use all the democracy they can to make progress. They can't keep voting democracy while they're in democracy mode. That won't work, right?
I think you can vote for multiple commands because I see up to start.
Yeah, I'm
9,
seeing new stuff happen that I haven't seen
A
before.
down to A won the vote.
I
kind of
liked it when it's like they made a lot of progress with just the anarchy and just the commands. They should have just left it that way. I kind of don't like that they added this extra stuff. I liked it being as a
It
meta.
feels like the victory will be less pure.
Yeah, it's like I like that stuff better when it was outside the system trying to work, as opposed to now where I see people voting for A down to A, right, to work the elevator.
At least A down to A could never win anarchy. So this is really, it's a fascinating thing that I can't watch like I would watch Salty
No, this is
Bet.
not something you can watch like Salty Bet. What you have to do is you have to watch highlights on YouTube and say, wow, somehow all that craziness ended
But at
up
the same
with that.
time, I can see that core appeal, like you said, of being a part of it. Because I remember this moment. Oh my God, I don't think I've ever talked about this on the show. So this is a moment from back when I played The Realm.
How did I know it was going to be The Realm?
So Sierra's The Realm. So Sierra's logon server
I actually was about to say The Realm. Was it The Realm?
is The Realm.
I'm not even joking.
Sierra's logon server failed. People who were already in the game could keep playing. No one new could join. A couple hours went by, and this was still the case. So people in the forums or the BBS were posting like, oh my God, don't log out. So the people left in the game started to realize
You were left in the game, weren't
I
you?
was still in the game. So we started to realize, oh, shit's going down. So people started having these little wars and things. Now, the game was also kind of unstable at the time, so occasionally, like, you just get kicked out.
Imagine if it happened in like Eve.
Oh my God.
It's like, who's logged in right now? We can start a war right now. They can't get to the computer.
Who's left? So eventually, through attrition, I was hanging out like I was leveling up anyways. I was like, whatever, so I kept playing. And eventually, there's only like a couple hundred people left. So suddenly, the whole game is like empty, which I'd never seen before. Like I'm walking around towns and there just aren't a lot of people. So people started congregating in particular areas. But if too many people were in one area, people would start to lag out. So that brought the attrition down even further. And I just remember like feeling like this was such a cool, memorable thing and being a part of it and being, because you could only fit so many people on one screen. So eventually I got to the town square and I was one of 17 people hanging out in the town square of the biggest town, Leinster. And we were just having an internet party.
Imagine if it's like World of Warcraft and no one could log in.
And then 17 people are the only people logged in right now, and they're all hanging out in one town.
I think there are only 17 people still logged into World of Warcraft.
Oh!
That will be true one day, not today.
Someday.
But one day, that will be true.
Yeah, I mean, EverQuest had, 9 expansions before it died?
Do you still have to pay to play that shit? We should
don't
start
know.
playing it now.
Yeah. You know, I killed enough King Kilrogs in my day. I don't need to play another MMO. But I remember there was a moment when my dad was like, hey, you want to go out and get dinner? Because, my brother and mom were out of town.
You're like,
and I was
no.
like, no, Dad, I gotta stay. And I tried to explain to him what was going on, and he just looked at me like,
What the fuck is wrong with you?
okay, fine, whatever.
Imagine if it's like they're about to beat the Elite Four in Twitch Plays Pokemon. They're battling
Yeah, once you realize, guys,
Pokemon champion.
the people who were there during the ledge incident or the tree incident, they're going to remember that the rest of their lives the way I remember that fucking time when I hung out on the realm until only 17 people were
like,
left.
imagine if it was your press of up that got him up the away from the ledge.
Imagine
You're
if it was,
the guy who pressed
Imagine if it was your press that threw away your legendary right before the Elite Four.
up. They got a Mewtwo, and then
You throw it away.
you're the one who released Mewtwo into the wild. You're A.
So I think what's going to happen
and the
is
guy right after you press B.
this thing's going to be going on for a while, and there's going to be a core of people who are really into it. But whenever they get close to a big event, internet word's going to spread, and they're going to get orders of magnitude and more people.
Yeah, you're going to basically see, people will lose interest, and then things will actually start to progress faster when interest wanes.
But then they'll
They
hit
won't
something
go
important.
fast, but they'll go relatively fast to how slow they're going now. And then when they accomplish something, news will spread, and it'll sort of be that thing that comes back every few days, weeks.
I think when they get the Elite Four, it's probably going to crash under the sheer
The viewership
load.
on Twitch will go through the roof when it hits the Elite Four. I'm just not, if that happens, I won't even type anything in. I'll just watch.
Well, they got out of the elevator, but they haven't gotten very far.
They're trying to open that door. I think they need a key for that. I don't remember.
Well, they're up 9 is winning the vote for some reason.
Okay.
So this is gonna go up
Yeah,
9.
yeah. Everyone's trying to press A to open it now. A. Yeah.
A, up 9, and A, up 9 and A.
Well, I think it's after they hit A, they want to go up 9 spaces.
Maybe. So yeah, this is an interesting internet gamer phenomenon. Imagine explaining to a kid when Pokemon was out on the Game Boy.
I think they also picked the absolute perfect game, right? You could not pick. It's like you try to think like, oh, I can beat them if I do a better game. It's
Mario?
Like, no. First of all, it can't be a real-time game. It has to be a ridiculously popular game, and they chose the original Game Boy version, which is like the ultimate.
It has to be a relatively simple game.
Yep.
It has to be a game where you can't like break it.
Yep.
Just by doing actions. It can't be a game like I don't know, Shadowgate, where you could throw things away and you're literally fucked.
You know,
and it can't be a game that has an end game. It can't be a game that you can lose.
Theoretically, they could get to the main menu and like delete their game, but no, that requires holding buttons down. I think. I don't know if they can actually accomplish that. Anyway.
Yeah, but like it couldn't be a game like any game that doesn't have infinite continues. Like it couldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many Pokemon is the perfect storm. There's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna try to copy this phenomenon, and they will fail because this is it.
Yeah, there's no point in trying to make another game to be controlled this way. I mean, maybe if this one ends, they could do gold, silver.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think they will. I think you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna just do every Pokemon in order, every generation.
It wouldn't work on. First of all, they can't get it. There's no way to do it with the 3DS ones. I don't think. Maybe.
We'll see.
It'd be much harder. Plus, there's more inputs and there's touching and all that kind of stuff, right? But you could do it with the GBA ones, I guess. I don't know.
We'll see. So enjoy this internet phenomenon while it lasts.
Yep.
They got a few days to go, I think.
Many,
How can
many
you not
moods.
but see the beauty of our evil?
It's Team Rocket headquarters, I think.
Yeah, they've been working on that for a while now. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.